cervical cancer. West Africa blocks doors to stay open to junta-led states after January exit. And Israel continues Golan Heights buffer zone incursion as Syrian rebels say they do not seek conflict. Details in a moment. The federal government has signed 2 letters of intent with foreign healthcare companies to enhance healthcare access and capacity in Nigeria. The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare disclosed this in a statement issued in Abuja on Sunday by the Deputy Director, Information and Public Relations, Alaba Balogun. According to the statement, the arrangement or the agreements involve Siemens Healthineers, a Nigerian partner, Tanit Medical Engineering, and Abbott Laboratories GmbH. The Memorandum of Understanding outlines the presidential initiative for unlocking the healthcare value chain and reaffirms the federal government's commitments to improving healthcare delivery through public-private partnerships. The partnership aims to boost the assembly of ultrasound systems, enhance medical training for Nigerian professionals, and strengthen the self-sufficiency of the national healthcare system. It will also guarantee access to high-quality, locally produced diagnostic solutions. Dr. Abdul Mukhtar, National Coordinator of PVAC, represented the federal government in signing the agreement with the Coordinating Minister of the Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Pate, in attendance. Pate commended Mukhtar and his team for attracting investors to Nigeria and explained the executive order that provided incentives for those investing in the health sector. President Bola Tinubu has assured every Nigerian child the protection of their rights and privileges from all forms of molestation and abuse. The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Education, Dr. Sani Idris, disclosed this The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Education, Dr. Sani Idris, disclosed this while speaking at the Center for Quranic Studies, Bayero University, Kano, on Sunday. Idris spoke during the second National Symposium on the Sangaya System of Education. He said that the era of beggars on Nigerian streets and roads is over. Hence, the federal government is doing everything possible to give every child a life of hope, assurance, and brighter future. Also speaking, the Vice-Chancellor, Bayero University, Kano, Professor Sagir Abbas, thanks President Tinubu for creating an enabling environment for the upliftment of the lives of Nigerians, particularly children, women, and the vulnerable in the society. Abbas stressed the need for all out-of-school children to have the basics of life, such as clothing, shelter, food, and adequate medication. Professor Ahmed Murtala, Director, Center for Quranic Studies, urged governments at all levels and parents to join hands with northern governments on how best to engage the children in skills acquisitions. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed federal government support for transformative initiatives that align with Nigeria's vision for expanding hydrocarbon exploration, storage, and refining. Shettima, who represented President Bola Tinubu, gave the assurance at the inauguration of a $315 million floating production, storage, and offloading FPSO vessel in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The FPSO vessel is owned by Nigeria's Oriental Energy Resources Limited. The vessel, with a storage capacity of 1 million barrels, will kick off with an initial production of 17,000 barrels per day before increasing its production capacity to 30,000 per day. It is expected to depart for Nigeria in the first quarter of 2025 and commence production at the Okwok oil field in the first half of 2025. Shutima noted that the FPSO vessel symbolizes a future where Nigerian ingenuity meets global standards. Olatunbosun Oyitoleye, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress APC in Osun, has appealed to President Bola Tinubu to set up a probe panel on the incessant national grid collapse. Oyitoleye, while speaking with newsmen on Sunday in Oshobo, said the incessant collapse of the grid was becoming worrisome and needed a presidential investigation panel. According to him, the latest collapse that occurred on Thursday, making it the 12th time the national grid will collapse in 2024 alone. The grid collapse occurred on the same day. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, promised that the grid would achieve significant stability with the completion of Phase 1 of the Presidential Power Initiative, PPI, also known as the Siemens Project. Oyintolio, who emphasized the importance of electricity to the economy, said that the frequent collapses of the national grid has having negative toll on businesses in the country. He said there was an urgent need for a presidential probe to investigate holistically what was responsible for the frequent collapses of the grid so as to restore sanity to the power sector. Oyituloye, a member of the defunct APC Presidential Campaign Council, also said that for the grids to have collapsed 12 times within a year shows something is wrong somewhere. Oyituloye said that at the end of the investigation, anyone found culpable or sabotaging the efforts of the government in ensuring stable power supply must be made to face the consequences. He also urged the Minister of Power to put in more efforts in ensuring that those responsible for the maintenance of the grid were up to their responsibilities. Oyitiloye, a former lawmaker, said since Nigerians were already paying so much for electricity, they should be allowed to enjoy the benefits. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has inaugurated its first colposcopy center located at the Wuse District General Hospital aimed at combating cervical cancer. This was disclosed in a statement issued on Sunday in Abuja by Bola Ajao, media aide to the Mandate Secretary, Health Services and Environmental Secretariat, Dr. Dolapo Fasawe. According to Ajao, the machine, which was donated by Nordica Fertility Center, Abuja, will aid the early detection and treatment of the disease. While commissioning and inspecting the newly inaugurated colposcopy machine, Fasawe highlighted the importance of the facility. Fasawe expressed gratitude to Nordica Fertility Center for the donation and called on other partners and organizations to support the government in building a more effective healthcare system. She said that the cervical cancer had a pre-malignant phase lasting 10 years to 15 years, which offers a critical window for early detection and treatment. The medical director of the hospital, Dr. Oluseyi Ashaolu, said that the Secretariat has approved free colposcopy services for all female staff of the FCT General Hospital until January 2025. Ashaolu said that the step was taken to encourage the use of the facility. He said that procedures would be conducted by specialists in gynecologic oncology, and patients with abnormal findings would receive appropriate treatments, including thermal ablation, loop electrosurgical excision procedure, or definitive surgeries as necessary. He urged women within the reproductive age group to take advantage of the facility, stating that colposcopy is a safe and effective method for detecting abnormal cell growth in the cervix, vagina, and vulva. Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State says government has committed over 2 billion naira to upgrade Enugu State University Teaching Hospital and building of students' hostels to address the problem of accommodation scarcity. Mbah disclosed this while answering questions from the students' union leadership during his town hall meeting with Enugu people with the theme Governance Issues: The Journey So Far. He said that his administration was not only building smart schools for primary and secondary students, but committed to building an innovation and experiential learning for states' tertiary institutions. According to him, the state government has committed in the ESUT alone over 2 billion naira to facelift it. He also said that by 2025, the state would be building 17 smart green secondary schools aside the 245 of 260 smart green schools going on across the state for nursery to junior secondary school 3. He said that by September 2025, every child in the state would be at the smart schools learning, adding that 11,000 smart school teachers and directors of experiential learning had been trained. The Lagos State government is set to inaugurate completed roads and bridge projects in a Limosho local government area. The roads are Babafemi Blada with Bridge, Yinka Folaring, Jamiu Lawal, and Shalom Academy. They will be inaugurated on Monday, according to a statement by the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho. The statement was made available to newsmen on Sunday in Lagos. Omotosho said that the inauguration was part of the efforts of the state government to create sustainable communities, improve connectivity, and provide effective bypass to areas experiencing gridlock. The road network in a Limosho local government area is a 1.57 kilometers long, a semi-rigid pavement road with 250 meters deck on pile bridge and will provide a shorter route for motorists connecting Lasu IBA Road, Idowi Aba bus stop with Kandos Road Academy bus stop in Barua community. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State has directed all the commissioners reassigned in the recent cabinet reshuffle to ensure a smooth handover and assumption of duty before the close of office hours on Tuesday. Yusuf, who issued the directive through his spokesperson Sanusi Bature Dawakin Tofa, said the cabinet changes will take full effect during the next meeting of the State Executive Council on Wednesday. He emphasized the need for the completion of all the transition processes before then. The governor urged the members of the State Executive Council to redouble their efforts and uphold a strong spirit of teamwork, dedication, and commitment to supporting his administration in serving the people of the state. Still to come, FRSC deploys over 42,000 regular special marshals. Police rescue 11, recovered 20 bodies in Benue boat mishap. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature TV. The police command in Anambra has urged the residents of the state to be conscious of people living around their neighborhoods this festive season. The command's public relations officer Tochukwu Ikenga made the call in a statement issued in Oka on Sunday. Ikenga also advised the residents to avoid actions that could trigger fire outbreaks such as uncontrolled bush burning and dropping of cigarette butts during the Hamatan. He further advised the public against the use of fireworks and other explosives, careless handling of receptacles for trash, poor handling of electrical appliances, among others. He urged residents to partner the police to provide them with the right atmosphere for a smooth festive season. The Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC says it has deployed over 42,000 regular and special marshals for effective traffic management before, during, and after the Yuletide nationwide. The FRSC Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed said this in a commemoration of the Ember Month Special Patrol Operations on Sunday in Abuja. Mohammed said that the Corps had commenced its annual 30-day end-of-the-year special operation slated for Sunday, December 15 to Wednesday, December 17th. He said that all sector and zonal commanding officers across the country have been directed to ensure proper supervision of the personnel deployed for the exercise. He also said that the adequate logistics, including 2 trucks, patrol vehicles, and motorbikes, have been provided to remove obstructions. The FRSC boss, however, warns motorists, particularly commercial drivers, to adhere to traffic rules and regulations. The FRSC Corps Marshal appealed to passengers to report erring drivers to FRSC personnel or any security agency for immediate action, advising travelers to board vehicles at approved motor parks for their safety. He assured that the FRSC was working diligently with the Nigerian police force and other security agencies to address activities that could pose threats to the smooth movement of travelers across the country. Mohammed assured Nigerians that the FRSC toll-free number 122 would remain available for emergencies. The Benue commander of the Nigerian police force has rescued 11 persons and recovered 20 bodies from a boat mishap in Agatu local government area of the state. The State's Police Public Relations Officer, PPPRO, SP Suwese Anene, told newsmen on Sunday that the incident took place late in the evening on Saturday. The chairman of Agatu local government area, Melvin James, said the victims, who were from Nasarawa State, were returning to their base in Apochi and Odenyi communities in Doma. He said he was trying to get the colleague from Nazaro State to see how they can go there to visit the families and console them. Meanwhile, the commander of 34 Artillery Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Obinze near Owerri, Brigadier General Usman Lawal, has declared Imo safe for the Yuletide celebrations going forward. The commander said this while addressing newsmen in Owerri on Saturday following a raid of trouble spots in the state by a combined team of security operatives. The joint team comprised the military force, police, DSS, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense School. The army boss said that the security forces had successfully decimated criminal elements in Ezioha and Eziama Obia at communities of Mbitolu Council area of the state, as well as other terrorized areas in Oru East and Njaba Council areas where some bandits had gone into hiding. He commended the personnel of the joint team for their gallantry in ensuring that peace returned to the localities and assured Imo people that no stone would be left unturned in ensuring that they can return home for the festivities. He therefore called on the residents to go about their legitimate businesses as their lives and property would be protected at all costs. The Imo Commissioner of Police, Mr. Aboki Danjuma, said the essence of the operation was to restore the public love and confidence in the security agents to safeguard lives and property. Also, the special advisor on security matters to the Imo State Governor, Joseph Chima, retired, gave assurance that government would do everything within its powers to ensure adequate security to enable the people to return to their homes, especially during the Yuletide. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has recovered 636,600 bottles of codeine-based syrup worth 4.4 billion naira in streets value at Port Harcourt complex on Rivers. This is contained in a statement issued by the Director of Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, Mr. Femi Babafemi, on Sunday in Abuja. Babafemi said that the drugs were intercepted in shipments from India on December 9th, Wednesday, December 11th, and December 13th. He said that these seizures were made during joint examination of 4 containers by NDLEA officers, men of Nigeria Customs Service, and other security agencies at the port. This, he said, was made possible following processed credible intelligence on these shipments by the NDLEA operatives. Meanwhile, with the same vigor, commands and formations of the agency across the country continued their war against drug abuse, WADA, sensitization activities to schools, worship centers, workplaces, and communities, among others, in the past week. Babafemi named the places as WADA sensitization lecture to students and staff of City Comprehensive College, Ogidi, Anambra, Government Secondary School, Tungo, Adamawa, Boni Camp Primary School, Victoria Island, Lagos, and Government Junior Secondary School, Yaganji, Kano. He added that the Oyo State Commander of the NDLEA delivered WADA Enlightenment Lecture to all leaders, elders, youths, and residents of Tapa community, Tapa among others. This, he said, was a continuous process by the agency in order to produce to the barest minimum the dangers of illicit drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking across the country. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Delta State has condemned the invasion of its secretariat in Ogara, Ethiopia West local government area, by suspected thugs said to be loyal to the Ethiatake Ibori Suenu, daughter of ex-governor James Ibori. This is contained in a statement signed by the Delta State PDP Publicity Secretary, Dr. Ebenezer Okoro-Dudu, and made available to journalists on Sunday. He said the party views this provocative and disgraceful action as part of a series of desperate attempts by Honorable Hiatake Ibori Sowenu, who recently defected to the APC, to appropriate the structures and assets of the PDP for the benefits of our new party. While noting that the PDP is committed to peace and the rule of law as a party, Okoro-Dudu urged members of the party and its supporters to remain calm and peaceful in the face of the provocation. Okoro-Dudu also called on former Governor of Delta State, Chief James Onanafa Ibori's daughter, Ibori Suenu, and her APC collaborators to stop attempting to gain political relevance by riding on the back of the PDP's hard-earned reputation. Okoro-Dudu stressed that the PDP remains committed to upholding the values of democracy, justice, and good governance. He also called on security agencies to immediately investigate the incidents, identify those responsible, and ensure that they brought to justice. Ibori Suenu recently defected from the PDP to the All Progressives Congress, APC. The federal government has paid its ECOWAS community levy of 85 billion naira and $54 million representing 2023 and up to July 2024. President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Touare, said this on Sunday during the opening of the 66th ordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government at the Banquet Hall, Presidential Villa, Abuja. He said he was deeply grateful that Nigeria has decided to pay 100% for the first time in 19 years. In his opening remark, President ENUGU said the strength of the Commission was in the unity of members, and ECOWAS was born out of a shared vision to create a community for citizens. He said the world is confronted with challenges ranging from crisis from Sudan, Middle East, and violent extremism and environmental challenges. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has urged West African leaders to draw inspiration from Ghana's recent peaceful elections as a model of democratic maturity and commitment to national unity. The president said this during the opening of the 66th ordinary session of ECOWAS on Sunday in Abuja. He lauded President Nana Akufo-Addo and the people of Ghana for the resounding success of their recent presidential and parliamentary elections, setting a high standard for the region. He said despite the challenges of interrupted democratic governance in some West African countries, the region had continued to record democratic gains. He added that the gesture, as it happened in Nigeria in 2015, demonstrated political maturity and respect for the will of the people of Ghana. He praised President Akufo-Addo for his exceptional leadership and unwavering commitment to ECOWAS during his 2-year term, describing him as a formidable Pan-Africanist. President Tinubu also congratulated government and people of Senegal on their successful parliamentary elections. Still to come, Gaza suffers highest per capita child amputee rate globally, says UNRWA official. Israeli army video of airstrikes on Gaza clinics said to be used by Hamas. These and more after the break. Do stay with us.
We are local.
We are right now with the wife of the man that was...
Why the main market is in chaos. People...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye.
Aye. We have taken it by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature TV. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger will have a 6-month grace period after their scheduled visits from West Africa's main political and economic group next month, during which the ECOWAS bloc will try to persuade them to stay. The bloc's leaders agreed on Sunday. The summit of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, was seen as a chance to address the impending withdrawal of the 3 countries on January 29th, a year after they jointly announced they would leave in a reversal of decades of regional integration. ECOWAS has so far failed in its goal to push them to reconsider, while 3 countries in the insurgency-torn Central Sahel region have set up their own alliance, sought ever closer alignment in defense and other areas, and mooted abandoning the West African Currency Union. While January 29 remains the official withdrawal date, the effective date for their departure has been extended to July 29th, a transition period during which mediators from the bloc will seek to bring the 3 member countries back to ECOWAS without prejudice, Commission President Omar Touare said at the end of the summit.
The 3 countries will officially cease to be members of ECOWAS from 29 January 2025. The authority decides to set the period from 29 January 2025 to 29 July 2025 as a transitional period, and to keep ECOWAS doors open to the 3 countries during the transition period. The authority directs the Council of Ministers to convene an extraordinary session during the second quarter of 2025 to consider and adopt both separation modalities and the contingency plan covering political and economic relations between ECOWAS and the Republic of Niger, the Republic of Mali, and Burkina Faso.
On Saturday, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso reaffirmed their decision to leave as irreversible and jointly declared that their territories would remain visa-free for all ECOWAS citizens post-exit. Britain on Sunday announced a £50 million aid package to help vulnerable Syrians after rebels last week overthrew President Bashar al-Assad. Millions of Syrians need humanitarian assistance after more than a decade of civil war that shattered much of the country's infrastructure and displaced large numbers of people, some of the many who fled to the country are returning from the neighboring states. £30 million will provide immediate help to more than 1 million people, including food, shelter, emergency health care, and protection for the most vulnerable, Britain said in a statement. That money, mostly distributed through UN channels, will support emerging needs, including the rehabilitation of essential services such as water, hospitals, and schools. To help Syrians in neighboring countries, £10 million will go to the World Food Programme WFP in Lebanon, and £10 million will go to Jordan via the WFP and the UN's Refugee Agency.
Well, today I'm announcing a £50 million package of support and aid to Syria, and I support the ACBA principles that were agreed yesterday. We want to see a Syrian-led and a Syrian-owned future, and we want one that is representative and inclusive. That is what partners in the region and allies, close allies, signed up to yesterday, and that's what we'll be encouraging. HDS remains a prescribed organisation, but we can have diplomatic contact, and so we do have diplomatic contact, as you would expect. We want to see a representative government, an inclusive government. We want to see chemical weapons stockpiles secured and not used, and we want to ensure that there is not continuing violence. And so for all of those reasons, using all the channels that we have available, and those are diplomatic and, of course, intelligence-led channels, we seek to deal with HCS where we have to.
Gaza now has the highest number of child amputees per capita anywhere in the world, said Louise Wateridge, a senior emergency officer with the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA. Speaking to reporters in Geneva from central Gaza, Wateridge described the dire situation in Gaza's hospital. According to UNRWA, nearly 26,000 people have suffered life-changing injuries in the last 14 months. As of May 2024, more than 20% of households in Gaza reported having at least one disabled family member, with 58,000 disabled individuals registered with the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics. Wateridge also expressed grave concern about widespread food insecurity and malnutrition in Gaza.
Gaza now has the highest number of child amputees per capita than anywhere in the world. Many are losing their limbs in scenarios such as this. They're undergoing surgeries without anesthesia. I spoke to doctors at Nasser Hospital. This is the largest semi-functioning hospital in the Gaza Strip now, and they're absolutely beside themselves. It's been 14 months. People here really are surviving on bread, lentils, food in tin cans. We're not seeing fruit and vegetables around. We're not seeing people with families, children get the nutrients that they need in terms of fruit and vegetables. And this is also having a huge effect on the health of the population. In the past 4 months alone, nearly 19,000 children were hospitalized due to acute malnourishment.
Several tents were destroyed in Al-Dura Stadium, housing the displaced in Dar al-Balah following an Israeli strike. Hassan Amar, a resident who survived the strike, said they saw strikes around midnight, a red light, and the tent collapsed on Nas.
I mean, there's no justification. I ask the world's countries, how long will you remain silent? We have over 100,000 martyrs and 150,000 injured. Gaza is destroyed. We are back to the Nakba of 1948. There's nothing we haven't lost, whether in terms of the wounded, children or anything. When will the war stop? I hope for calm today, even before tomorrow, God willing. We've been in this torment for a year and 3 months. We lose someone every day, whether it's a relative, a brother, or a cousin. Until when? I still can't believe I got out. I wasn't meters away, just 1 centimeter away.
The strike led to several casualties and injuries, a statement from the Palestinian Ministry of Health said. A funeral was held for several Gazans who died as a result of a strike at Al-Aqsa Matthias Hospital in Deir al-Balah. Israel's military offensive in the Gaza Strip has killed at least 44,976 Palestinians and wounded 106,759 since October 7, 2023, the Palestinian Enclave's health ministry say on Sunday. Meanwhile, Israel said on Sunday its Air Force struck a command and control center in a compound in Abu Shabak clinic in northern Gaza used by Hamas to store weapons and plan attacks. The Gaza Health Ministry said the medical center, which also included a mental health clinic, was destroyed. In a statement along with footage said to show the strike, the military said, quotes, the command and control center was used by Hamas to store weapons and plan and execute attacks against IDF troops and the State of Israel. Palestinians accuse Israel of carrying out ethnic cleansing to depopulate the areas at the northern edge to create a buffer zone. Israel denies it and says the campaign targets Hamas militants and aims to prevent them from regrouping. The military says it has instructed civilians to evacuate battle zones for their own safety. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump about development in Syria and a recent push to secure the release of Israeli and foreign hostages held by Hamas in Gaza, he said on Sunday. Netanyahu said he spoke with Trump on Saturday night.
We have no interest in a conflict with Syria. We will determine Israel's policy towards Syria according to the emerging reality on the ground. I remind you that for decades Syria was a proactive enemy state to Israel. It attacked us again and again. It allowed others to attack us from its territory. It allowed Iran to arm Hezbollah through its territory. To ensure that what happened will not happen again, we have taken a series of strong actions in the last few days. Together with Defense Minister Israel Katz, I instructed the IDF, Israel Defense Forces, to thwart the potential threats from Syria and to prevent the takeover of terrorist elements near our border. I discussed all of this again last night with my friend, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. It was a very friendly, very warm and very important conversation. We talked about the need to complete Israel's victory, and we also talked at length about the efforts we are making to free our hostages.
Israeli troops operated in the UN-monitored buffer zone between Syria and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on Sunday after Syria's de facto leader and the country was not interested in the new conflicts despite Israeli attacks. The threats to Israel from Syria remain despite the moderate tone of rebel leaders who ousted President Bashar al-Assad a week ago. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said on Sunday amid military moves by his country to counter such threats. Syria's de facto leader Ahmad al-Shara said on Saturday that Israel was using false pretexts to justify its attacks on Syria, but that he was not interested in engaging in new conflicts as the country focuses on rebuilding. Shara, better known as Abu Muhammad al-Golani, leads the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a group that swept Assad from power last Sunday, ending the family's 5-decade iron-fisted rule. Since then, Israel has moved into a demilitarized zone inside Syria that was created after the 1973 Arab-Israeli War, including the Syrian side of the strategic Mount Hermon and overlooks Damascus, where its forces took over an abandoned Syrian military post. Residents of the occupied West Bank city of Jenin protested on Sunday, a day after at least one person was killed in the clashes between Palestinian security forces and Palestinian militants. Gunshots and explosions would be heard in the city on Saturday, where frictions has risen in recent days between militant factions and the Western-backed Palestinian Authority (PA) of Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas following raids by the PA. Residents identified the man who was killed as a militant, though none of the factions immediately confirmed his affiliations. The PA Security Branch said in a statement that its forces were undertaking a security operation to restore law and order to Jenin's historic refugee camp suburb, a stronghold of Palestinian militants alienated from the Palestinian leadership. The Palestinian militant group Hamas, which has been fighting Israeli forces in Gaza for more than a year, condemned the PA for the Jenin operation, and its allied group Islamic Jihad called for a day of protest. Jenin has also been hotbed of conflict between the Palestinian militant groups and the Israeli military in recent years since March 2022. Jenin and outlying areas in the north of the West Bank have drawn intensified Israeli raids after a spate of Palestinian street attacks. A Russian oil tanker carrying thousands of tons of oil products split apart during a heavy storm on Sunday, spilling oil into the Kerch Strait, while another tanker was also in distress after sustaining damage, Russian officials say. One video shared by Svetlana Radiovna, head of Russia's natural resources watchdog Rosprinodzazo, Federal Service of the Supervision of Natural Resources, showed at least one of the broken tankers at sea. Russian investigators opened 2 criminal cases to look into possible safety violations after at least one person was killed when at the 136-meter Vognetst 212 tanker with 15 people on board splits in half with its bow sinking. Separate footage published by state media showed with waves washing over its deck. Radiovna said specialists were assessing the damage at the site of the incident, and Russia's Kommersant newspaper reported that the Vognetst 212 tanker was carrying about 4,300 tons of fuel oil. The Russian-flagged vessel, built in 1969, was damaged and had run aground, officials say. A second Russian-flagged ship, the 132-meter Vognetst 239, was drifting after sustaining damage. The emergency ministry said it has a crew of 14 people and was built in 1973. Both tankers have a loading capacity of about 4,200 tons of oil product. Official statement did not provide details of the extent of the spill or why one of the tankers sustained such serious damage. Russia said more than 50 people and equipment, including Mi-8 helicopters and rescue tugboats, had been deployed to the area. The well-being of Macau's residents has significantly improved over the past 25 years since the region's return to the motherland in 1999. Seag Pai Vang, Macau's largest public housing project with over 9,000 residential units, stands as a testament to its progress. A decade ago, Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Seag Pai Vang public housing complex to learn about the work and living conditions of local residents. Housing used to be a persistent headache for residents in Macau, a densely populated region with limited resources. Since the region's return, the government of Macau's Special Administrative Region, SAR, has implemented a public housing policy aimed at ensuring that residents would have a place to live and could enjoy a stable life. This policy includes subsidized housing for low-income families and social housing with low rents for disadvantaged families. Meanwhile, the SAR government provides subsidies for families waiting for public housing in accordance with their family sizes. With continuous support from the central authorities, the Macau SAR government has expanded public housing and improved supporting facilities. Seag Pai Vang has seen significant changes. On November 1st this year, the Seag Pai Vang line of the Macau Light Rapid Transit officially opens, extending light rail services to the community and greatly facilitating travel. Since Macau's return to China, the SAR government has continuously increased investment in the livelihood sector, ensuring that the benefits of development reach all residents. Several hundred people, maybe even thousands, may have been killed by Cyclone Chido in the French archipelago of Mayotte in the Indian Ocean, top local French officials say via local media channel Mayotte La Relais on Sunday in Mamoudzou. Cyclone Chido swept through Mayotte overnight, Meteo France said, bringing winds of more than 200 kph and damaging makeshift housing, government buildings and hospital. It was the strongest storm in more than 90 years to hit the islands, the forecasters say. It was difficult to ascertain the precise deaths toll after the cyclone, which also raised concerns about access to food, water and sanitation. Authorities say the Buvale said Muslims will bury their dead immediately, making it harder to count their real number of deaths. Located nearly 8,000 kilometers from Paris and a 4-day trip by sea, Mayotte is significantly poorer than the rest of France and has grappled with gang violence and social unrest for decades. Some 77% of the people in Mayotte live below the French poverty line. Pope Francis held talks with French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday before wrapping up a visit in Ajaccio, Corsica's capital. During the one-day visit, the Pope attended a Congress on Faith across the Mediterranean. He also celebrated a Catholic Mass before meeting President Macron. The Vatican estimates that about 81% of Corsica's population of 365,000 is Catholic. There are 83 priests on the island and some 30 Catholic nuns. It says. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said on Sunday that the former Defense Minister Walter Braga Neto has every right to the presumption of innocence.
I will show you my patience and that I am a Democrat with the arrest of General Braga, Brazil's former Defense Minister Walter Braga Neto. I think he has every right to the presumption of innocence. I want them to have what I didn't have. Every right and every respect for the law to be complied with. But if these guys did what they tried to do, they will have to be severely punished. It is not possible for us to accept disrespect for democracy. It is not possible for us to accept disrespect for the Constitution. And it is not possible for us to accept that, in a generous country like Brazil, we have people with high military ranks plotting the death of the president, plotting the death of his vice president, and plotting the death of a judge who was president of the Supreme Electoral Court.
Neto, a retired general, is accused by federal police of plotting a coup to overturn Lula's narrow election win over Bolsonaro and assassinate him shortly after the 2022 vote. Neto has denied any role in the alleged conspiracy. Meanwhile, the Turkish flag was raised over Turkey's embassy in Damascus after 12 years of closure. The flag flying over the embassy on Sunday, a week after Syrian President Bashar al-Assad was ousted and Islamist fighters took control of the country. The embassy was closed in 2012. The number of Syrians in Turkey returning to the country will gradually increase as Syria stabilizes, said Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan. Fidan also added that the elimination of YPG was Turkey's strategic goal. The People's Protection Unit's YPG has been a central element of U.S. allied forces in the coalition against Islamic State militants. Turkey says the YPG is a terrorist group closely tied to Kurdistan Workers' Party PKK militants who have fought the Turkish state for 40 years. Former world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury is full of confidence just under a week ahead of his rematch with Ukraine's Alexander Usyk. Speaking in an interview on Sunday, Britain's Fury voiced his determination to avenge his May 19th loss to Usyk, the first defeat in 30 fight of his storied career.
Very confident. Preparations have been fantastic. I'm looking forward to smashing him up on Saturday night. I didn't learn anything. Learned that I'll do a bit more this time and win the fight. Yeah, less concerned because I've already been in there and been 12 rounds with a guy and I know he can't do anything to me. I just take one fight at a time, so I'll just focus on Saturday night and whatever happens after that will be.
Usyk beat Fury on a split decision in their first meeting to become the four belts undisputed heavyweight champion, adding Fury's WBC title to his WBA, WBO and IBF collection. He later vacated his IBF title, which has since been won by Britain's Daniel Dubois. Six-time Olympic table tennis champion Ma Long led his team to victory in the inaugural Wardner Cup as Team Asia beat Team World 14-10 in Norway on Sunday. Ma won all his matches over the weekend and put his team ahead early on as it paired up with Lim Jong-hoon to eventually overpower Hugo Calderano and former number one Dimitris Ovecharov 2-1. Each team scored 2 points for a win on a day 2 of the competition, and Truls Moregach stormed to victory in the second match against South Korea's Jang Jing to tie the scores at 6-6. Brazil's Calderano was unable to gain the point for his team on Sunday as he lost his second match of the day, a mixed doubles game against Shin Yu-bing and Lim Jong-hoon. But the team will recorded back-to-back wins as Ostrov and then Adriana Diaz won their singles matches. Diaz beat India's number one Manika Batra in straight games in the best-of-3 format. Kazakhstan's Kirill Gerasimenko dug into a clinch this March against the tiring Calderano, who was playing in his third contest of the day, bringing the overall scores level at 10-10. Step forward Chen Beng, China's back-to-back Olympic champion, saw off European champion Bernadette Skorsk 2-0 to put Team Asia 12-10 ahead going into the final match. Ma needed to beat the 2024 Olympic silver medalist Moraga to ensure Team Asia victory. The match went down to a deciding game and the Chinese pulled off an unreturnable serve on match point, following it up by mimicking his Swedish opponent's snake celebration. And as the news is hour, I'm Charles Pies. Thanks for watching. Join me in another few minutes for the morning show. See you later.
On May 14, 2014, at the conference of the National Committee on the Public Service held in Abuja, the chairman of the then Nigerian Civil Service Commission, Joan Ayo, blamed the Muritala Muhammad 1975 purge of the top echelon of the service for introducing graft, dishonesty, and undermining of accountability in government business. She said the Muritala Obasanjo junta, desirous
And so, just as the sun rises from the east, we rise to another week of excellent broadcasting. Welcome, everybody. This is Signature Morning. My name is Charles Pius.
My name is Belinda Nwobodo. Happy to have you once again. We'll bring you the newspaper headlines, newspaper review, and every other interview we have lined up for your pleasure this morning.
So we'll go straight to the dailies on the papers. And thereafter, we have our reviewers, and of course, we'll have some interesting discussions today. And we have a special guest on the show today. I am not going to let the cards out of the bag, but I tell you what, it's a special guest. So stand by for that. Welcome back. So let's begin on the dailies this morning. The Nigerian Tribune newspaper, Cash Crunch, POS operators source funds from traders, with a rider increase charges by 150,200%. Not our fault. We no longer get adequate cash from banks, says operators. Development may set back CBN's cashless policy. That's on the Nigerian Tribune.
And above the marks, we have confusion in LP as fresh defection looms, with the rider Nas Kirkus meets today as APC intensifies parking. We will resist it, IFO LP spokesman.
High interest rates weaken Naira to sustain trade surplus. Capital inflows till early 2025, says analysts.
NGE expresses concern over anti-media free speech laws.
ECOWAS begins withdrawal formalities for Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, with the rider. Tinubu settles 85 billion naira, $54 million levy, tasks leaders to copy Ghana's peaceful general elections.
Kwankwaso, Duke meets Obasanjo in Abeokuta. That's on the page 22.
Reps empower SEC to regulate online forex trading platforms and others.
Ekiti PDP Congress's caretaker committee members, Fayoso, loyalists may clash. That's on the page 23.
On the Punch newspaper this morning, Tinubu not threatened by Obasanjo. Kwankwaso obeys 2027 talk, says APC.
Council autonomy, Algon, Norgate kick as governors get 2 trillion naira local government allocations. Local government bodies worried over uncertainty in Supreme Court's verdict's implementation date.
OPS fears SMEs collapse as cash scarcity lingers.
NDLEA seizes 83 kilogram drugs from Ghana, arrest free.
Abuja land only valid after payment, and CFO minister spokesperson speaks.
Dangote refinery extends exports to 3 African countries.
Death toll hits 20 as boat capsizes in Benue.
ECOWAS to approve Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso's withdrawal January 23.
We'll move over to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Federal government overshoots 2024 borrowing target by 4 trillion naira, with the rider borrowing 49% above targets on 11th month. May hit 67% of the year end. At the year end, domestic borrowing hits 8.93 trillion. Analysts lists impacts on inflation and others. More borrowing crowds out private sector, says experts.
We've exported petrol to Cameroon, Ghana, Angola, South Africa, says Dangote Refinery.
Terrorism. Federal government secure conviction of over 200 suspects, says NSA.
Botany Sharp claims 20 lives in Benue.
3 trillion naira spent on raw materials imports in 2023, says the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria.
NGE expresses concern over anti-media free speech laws.
Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger have till July 2025 to return to ECOWAS.
Moving ahead to the Guardian newspapers, Nigeria on fiscal urge piles up 4 trillion naira on funded deficit in 12 months. That's on the page 6.
Supreme Court rules on first suit seeking Tinubu's disqualification today.
Sanwo-Olu performs groundbreaking ceremony for Media Park Hub.
Fresh anxiety over cash accessibility as CBN threatens to impose 50 million naira fine on banks.
Igbo most marginalized in Nigeria, says Abaribe.
2,000 megawatts of electricity stranded as federal government's power project stalls.
Coalition rallies against GM Foods, canvasses agroeconomy.
Sanwo-Olu performs groundbreaking ceremony for Medi Park Hub.
So the Daily Times newspaper. ECOWAS sets transition period for Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso withdrawal.
2025 budget. Clark urges Tinubu to declare state of emergency on south roads.
Nigeria fully pays ECOWAS levy after 19 years.
Countdown to elegance. Miss Nigeria 45th edition.
Oba of Benin begins Igwe Festival in surprise move.
All the details you can find on the Daily Times. Moving over to the Nation newspaper. On the Nation this morning, APC retains dominant majority in Senate, boosts in House of Reps.
42 illegal refineries destroyed in Niger Delta, 29 held for oil theft.
States gas challenge slow down federal government CNG initiative. Southeast, Northeast not on boards. We've raised the bar, says panel chair.
Court convicts 200 Boko Haram terrorists. NDLEA intercepts 3.3 billion naira drugs in car shipped from Canada.
Federation account netted 3.14 trillion naira, highest inflow in November.
Federal government goes tough on dormant landed assets.
ECOWAS, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali free to go January 29th.
That's on the Nation newspapers. Moving ahead to the blueprint. Nigeria pays 85 billion naira ECOWAS debt, $84 million levy, with the rider Tinubu urges member states to learn from Ghana's election. Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso cease to be members January 2025. That's on the blueprint.
NGE moves to meet National Assembly Information Minister AGF over obnoxious media laws, with the rider Idris Lords IPI NUJ elections urges responsible journalism.
Counter-terrorism. Federal government secures conviction of over 200 suspects.
Illicit Naira trade. Analysts back CBN's fresh sanctions on airing banks.
Sports World Cup. Sanusi will ensure Super Eagles stability and qualification.
All the details you can find on the Blueprint newspaper. Let's see if we can squeeze this one in. Daily Trust, 20 dead, 11 rescued in Benue, boat accidents.
High expectations as 32 states budgets 22 trillion naira for 2025. Appropriations upped by 31% from 2024's. Governors should prioritize capital expenditure, says expert.
Over 200 terror suspects back, death sentence, life imprisonment.
Nigeria exports 181.62 billion naira electricity in 9 months.
Politics, economy in focus as Obasanjo meets Kwankwaso and Donald Duke.
Kaduna reopens market after 10-year closure, urges peace.
Chris Monica joins us on the show this morning. Good to have you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chris, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Belinda. Good morning, the world.
Indeed. Politics is playing again in our own very eyes. This time around, maybe Obi is not in the mix, but Kwankwaso and Donald Duke. APC is saying whatever it is that they're doing, APC is not threatened. So take on this.
We only got to know that there's a meeting going on in Ota, which involved Duke and Kwankwaso. And just this morning, APC is already saying no matter whatever that meeting is, they are not threatened. So I'm worried why APC is backing at every meeting. They want to talk about every meeting that is held behind closed doors. They become suspicious. And that means APC should be, we have to reflect on what they are doing. If they think that everywhere people meet is just to unseat them. If APC is doing so much well, why would they worry about meetings? Why wouldn't the Duke and Kwankwaso and Obasanjo meet at his house? A lot of people have gone there to meet with him. So I felt that, when the stone climbs up, all the breakables become suspicious. And that's why I think APC is worried that just a 3-man meeting. And they're worried. What will happen if they have more than 3-man meeting? What will they do? So the question is, why is APC worried? So they should do what they call self-reflection. My concern is even for us to have food on our desk and our table, for our children, have means of transportation, have ease of doing business, have security. And then this politics, that's when it becomes relevant to me. As far as I'm concerned now, all those things are not relevant because they're waiting for I'm not here to assess whatever party in power and what they are doing. I'm saying if they are doing too well, they shouldn't bother about people meeting in their private and all that. Let's move on. So whoever is suspicious that people are meeting and they come immediately saying that will not unseat them, that means they are qualified to be unseated if they are looking towards every day.
But Kwankwaso did not deputize Peter Obi the last time. And part of the reasons why that alliance did not work. He says that the reason why he wasn't going to deputize him is because he's a senior, he has more clout, he has more followers. At that time, Peter Obi really hasn't shown himself. The only time he showed himself was in 2019 when he was deputizing for Atiku. They still lost that election, even though they gained so much numbers, at least around 12 million votes in 2019. But Peter hasn't come out to go for presidency like he did in 2023. And we know that the numbers were just so much. Peter Obi scored more than 5 million votes more than him. He scored around 1 million votes.
Now, what it means is that the politicians have lessons to learn. You don't know a cripple inside a kennel until they come down. You hardly know who is handicapped inside a moving vehicle until they come down. It means that you are not supposed to refuse food when it's not open and you're not seeing the food and it's in the cover. If when the plate is covered and they bring food. You only put the food and the eye will first eat before the mouth. Now, if that has happened in the past, it becomes a lesson for every politician because nobody knew that Peter Obi will command such popularity and become even regret for PDP. When they have, it was like, who is this young man? What is he coming with? And I keep saying, the blow that can kill a human is not carried with the trailer. You don't have to. It's just bad. The man will die, and then you say, depending on power that's coming from. But you hardly know when somebody want to give you a blow. It's not when it comes with a barrage of it to kill. One can kill. And that's a lesson for politicians. You don't neglect anybody. You don't, how do you know the book from the cover? You don't know what is in the book from the cover. And that's about that. So this time, I'm sure there are a lot of horse trading going on and on and on and on and on. And that's why even APC, a sitting power, a sitting party in power, G3 at every meeting. And they should be, because they have not met, I'm not sure, for me, who is just so objective and not in a membership of any party, they have not actually made me feel that I want them to come back. Maybe they're working on that, but I've not seen it yet. So whoever marries my mom this time, because my father, whoever promises a better thing for me now, and more than what is happening here, start bending my mind towards that. And it's simple, it's natural. I wish Nigerian politics should be that way. When you convince me, it'll be on conviction and what you can do. And people over time will see, they say when a woman marries two husbands, we know which one is better. Nigerians are due to marry two husbands and they will choose which one is better. And we married so many husbands, our case is even more than that. We've married Buhari, we've married Goodluck Jonathan, we've married Yaradua, and currently, Jagaban is our wife, our husband. We are checking. The man where they cry, they see road. Let's move on.
Interesting.
Yes.
OPS fears SMEs collapse as cash scarcity lingers. And of course, the POS operators have come out to say that it is not their fault. They no longer get adequate cash from the banks.
They should. The banking system in Nigeria should be jittery because the system has created its own banking system. I said it yesterday. Nigerians have distrust in the whole CBN banking thing, and they're not in control. That's what it means. Nature abhors vacuum. The people have come to find a way to survive. They don't want... Remember the proverb, they say, if a man is beaten by a bee once, if he sees a ENUGU fly, he will run. And that is exactly what's happening to Nigerians. Nobody wants to experience what happened during Naira swap, of beginning of 2023. Is it? At the beginning of 2024, ending of 2023, beginning of 2023. It is a very sad thing for anybody to want to repeat itself. So the people there's cash demand, and you say you are doing cashless. The banks are smiling every day to their banks, providing big profit. At transfer of 100 naira, they are taking 10 naira. Check it by 200 million Nigerians. In an economy where people are suffering, only the banks are declaring trillions of... Something is wrong. Why must we? They should be at gradual thing. Why is it, bam? Are we so developed, if we want to be like America? Why are we not like America in all classes of our development? They will look out for loopholes where people will be milking others dry. Check how many buy credit data online they're charging you. Bank, everybody is encouraging people and paying. Who is giving you credit? You go and use the money, buy credit. They charge you for buying credit. They charge you for selling credit to you. There was one day I wanted to fight a woman. You put POS, and he said you put charge, and I'm buying goods from your shop. He will still charge me. That's exactly what Nigerian banking system did to Nigerians, and they've learned their lesson. Now they're looking for alternative. This is end of the year. Nigerians know why is it that everything in Nigeria is hard? There was this joke when we were in the university. Say a young boy came from abroad and his peers took him to go and smoke Igbo. You know, these youth exuberance. When he finished smoking Nigerian Igbo, maybe he used to smoke Igbo abroad, but when he smoked Nigerian Igbo, he shouted, "Everything Nigeria hard!" Why is everything Nigeria hard? Why are they not making it easy? So the POS operation, people don't go, People don't, if you go and put your money in the bank, you go there, they give you 5,000 naira. Because the big men at home, they're sending cash to them. The CBN are printed new naira notes. You don't see them. That's why we still find old notes, smelly old notes circulating, because from filling stations, people want to spend their old notes. Only filling stations get them. Supermarkets get them. All those meat shops, you know. So it's still the one. People have abandoned the banking system. They should go and reclaim. CBN should look through it, because the cash crunch is dealing on Nigerians, and they want to make a way out of it. So POS operators have become the easiest source.
But do you think that probing CBN is enough for them to work this time around?
I don't know what CBN to do. I'm not a financial expert. All I know is that the nature abhors vacuum. This cash crunch, people do not want to experience it again. And the operators, you go to POS, every street you find more than 20 POS operators, and people are still operating. You go to banks now, the banks are almost empty. Only people who know documentation go to the bank, and they still have their glitches. So people now want to be moving, not when there's this hardship and hunger. You have 5,000 naira to spend, and you go and you can't find it. Or you have emergency, you're going to go to the hospital, the bank will give you 5,000 naira. Why the big men in Nigeria are spending billions? Who is giving them those money? You find them spending money at occasions, and they're spending mints. Why the hoi polloi, the wretched of the earth like us, can't have access to? So we find a way of making the money and getting the money to spend. So let CBN go back to the drawing board and find a way around it. I don't have issue about it. Because if I need money and I need to spend it, and the little I have, I'll find a way of getting it to spend. And if it's POS operator that will give it to me, even with added cost, I'll get it instead of check the transportation from your house to bank. From one point of movement in where I'm staying is about 500 naira. And if to go to bank, you spend that 1,000 to go and come back. Well, a POS is at home, who will charge you 100 naira. You are going to bank to withdraw 5,000. But POS in front of your house is charging 100 naira. My dear, is it not the simple economics? And our Nigerians are good at native intelligence. So I will go and, I will patronize the POS operators. Let the banks, CBN and all the commercial banks continue to carry the cash to the homes of the big men. It's the same country. Anybody or any goat like Nigeria lies down on the ground, is lying on his skin. So Nigerians, good luck. Whatever you sow, you will reap. Let's go. Somebody is Belinda, you didn't pronounce that very well when you were talking. You said people are poaching. When I didn't remember what you call it. It's confusion in LP as more. But there's when he says some more people are poaching and they are worried. Poaching. Yeah. APC opposition, welcome, whatever. Okay. All I know is that LP is